And we're here, and the tables have turned because this time around, I'm being interviewed by the great Suzette Laqua, executive producer of Laqua Productions, Inc. And I'm so glad and honored that you are taking the time to interview me, Suzette.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure, and I'm super grateful and honored to interview you. Um, I'm telling you, it's going to be a great interview, and I look forward to it.
Oh, thank you so much. It's like it's nice getting together anyway, but also it's also nice to have things reversed as well, where I'm being interviewed by, in my opinion, somebody very, very special, someone who uh, is daring enough to interview this boring person. But anyway,
You have a
uh,
great life. This is going to be fun. And for those who haven't, well, those who followed you for all these years, sometimes it's kind of nice to go deep into your past and bring out what has gotten you this far. So this is going to be a nice little interview.
excellent. I'm really looking forward to it. So where shall we start?
Well, let us start. So you can fill in the blanks of any of these questions that I've got. And if I don't get into some questions, you can add anything that you'd like, because this we're going to go into the past, just so you know. So, but first of all, I want to start with why this show is so important to you.
Ah, you must be referring to the latest show, is that
Yeah,
correct?
sorry. Yes, I'm referring to the latest show that you're working on currently
Okay.
in
Because
Vancouver.
which show, and I'm not saying this to brag, I'm saying this because I'm grateful I
Yes,
do
we are
that
going to go
open
into
mic
your past.
magic thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, the latest one, and when people will be viewing this, it probably would have occurred already in April 2026. It's sort of a gift. I'm going to sound facetious or full of myself in a way, but we are living in this condo world in Maple Ridge, Canada. And the Strata people are so incredible. They're really, really nice. They're on top of everything. They're fair about everything. And it's kind of a way to give back to them and to the folks living here. So when I mentioned it to them, they immediately turned their backs on me and walked away. No, when I mentioned this to them, they said, well, how about we invite people in the immediate vicinity in the condos? Because apparently all those condos are related somehow. I don't know if they're aunts or uncles or what they are, but no, they're they're a group of them all
They,
related. And I got
anybody they
excited
drawn
and
in.
yeah, really. So yeah, it's a way to give back. And why it's important in my long-winded way is that really, it's a very shortened 30 to 40-minute version of my life in magic, which is also the title of the book, My Life in Magic,
That's
available
fantastic.
on Amazon in all three versions, Kindle, hardcover, and soft. So the first part of the show is my very, very first effect that I ever did on stage at my high school show at Northmount High School in Montreal. I was about 14 years old. So picture this, Montreal, 1974 or 73. And this short, I think I'm still short, shorter, somewhat overweight, bespectacled. I had cool, I still have them, dark aviator Ray-Ban glasses
You should be wearing
and
them
long
right now.
hair.
You should be wearing
And
them for the interview.
yeah, I know. I actually thought of it and I thought, well, it looks like I'm hiding behind something.
Just for
So
a minute and then take them off.
yeah, I collect Ray-Bans as well. I have like tons of them, but that's a whole other interview. In any case, do I hear collectors calling? In any case, yes, it was a high school show. I shared the time with another friend of mine, Earl. He approached me and he said, let me do magic. You can do mentalism, which is a kind of thought reading thing. And it was awesome. I was scared, but I wasn't. For the first time in my life, I felt I belonged somewhere. In fact, I actually feel more comfortable on stage or this milieu or television, which I did for 9 years, than I do just sitting around with certain people. It's like this is more exciting to me. I feel alive. So, yes, that was a great opportunity.
Well,
And
that goes into some of the early interests in magic, then taking you back in
yes,
time. So that's where,
yes.
yeah. So tell us a little bit more of the early interests that got you into the magic.
Well, it was spurred on by the fact that I was born and raised in Montreal. And in Montreal, at least when I was growing up, we had shows, especially on Sunday, from all over the world. So we'd have like adventure shows from Italy, other kinds of shows from France, and just all these different things. And of course, magicians. Magicians are very big in larger centers. They're probably big everywhere, but nonetheless. My interest grew from watching a lot of the British magicians, and we had a magician on 7 days a week in Montreal. His name was Magic Tom Auburn, and
Mm,
hence my moniker, Magic Mike. Many magicians from Montreal call themselves Magic something because
right.
of Magic Tom. And he was on the air at least 30 or more years with his
Wow.
TV show on local television. So that was exciting. We had cable because it's Montreal before the rest of Canada. So I was able to watch American shows like The Magic Land of Alakazam with Mark Wilson, which I think the rest of Canada eventually got. And that spurred me on and excited me. Plus, we had at one point 3 or 4 magic shops in Montreal
Wow.
as well. And I loved perusing. Is that a word? I loved going into these
It is
shops at
now.
that point with my parents. And the guy behind the counter, this was my favorite one. It was called Henry Gordon's Party Center. It was on DeCarry. And you come in, it was a very long shop. So you'd walk in and it's like there's no end to it. There's counters and mostly party clown kind of balloon stuff. But at the very end, oh, the good stuff, the magic counter. And
That's
much like a magic shop or a toy store in Winnipeg called Toad Hall Toys, it's very, very similar in that regard. They have a little magic counter. And Henry Gordon turned me on to things like, and magicians will be watching this, so I'm going to mention the color changing knives, color changing scarves. He, as well, because he knew I loved the amazing Kreskin, who was on TV for 5 years, and he was on at that point, turned me on to a mentalist.
oh,
Layman won't know the term. It means like faux mind reading, and which is what Kreskin was. He did thought reading,
yeah,
supposedly.
yeah.
He turned me on to Ted Anneman, who was big in the 1940s, and his books. And because these books also contain card slides, Henry Gordon gave me or sold me, if you will, a book called Basic Card Magic. And I spent that whole summer, hundreds of pages, learning just about every single card slide. That's how excited I was. And I was able to learn a lot of the tricks, the mentalism tricks to augment and refuel me continually, my
So
interest
that
in
was
magic.
from the Montreal magic shop that was where you learned your first tricks.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
which got you into like learning more about the amazing Kreskin. Like
Yes.
how did you learn about him?
Well, to be honest, The Amazing Kreskin was on TV.
I
He was
remember, yeah, I
on,
remember back in the day when
right?
like his
He
name, yeah.
started on Canadian television. It was produced out of the Ottawa studios. I think it was CHCH. I might be wrong. That might be Hamilton. But and lasted several years. And I was about 14, maybe 15, and I would draw comic books so I don't forget the tricks that Kreskin did. I created a little character named Fred or Frederick, and Frederick was really Kreskin. And I was able to mostly figure out what Kreskin was doing because I was already buying tricks at the magic shop and all that. So I started to build and create tricks based on what Kreskin was doing. I try them out on my parents. I try them out at my friends at school, usually at lunchtime or recess. And yeah, it kind of built, and that's how I put together the variety show segment that I had in my high
That
school.
that you did through did you do it all through high school though? Like the variety
Um,
show, the
Near
like
the end,
your first magic show.
there was only one variety show, and that was, I
Oh.
think, when I was in grade 10. So I was in it. And you want to hear what one of the effects were? Because I'm going to do it in my live show.
Oh,
By
for
the
sure.
time you
Did you
see
have a
this,
video?
I would have.
Back in the
Okay.
day, remember the video cameras back in the olden days? Just kidding. Nothing to do with our age or anything, but the old-fashioned one. Did your parents or did your family ever videotape it from high school?
I really wish they took one photo,
Oh,
and I keep
I hope you framed it.
everything. And I wish I could find it. But picture this, I was a big fan of the Mod Squad at that time. That was a
Oh, yeah, the
TV
Mod
show as
Squad.
well, right? And I liked what Link used to wear. And what he wore was Lee denim suits. Lee denim jacket, short
Yeah.
jacket, and pants and construction boots or hiking boots. So he also wore sometimes white Lee jacket and white Lee slacks. And that's exactly what I wore in my magic
Oh,
show in high school
well,
and Dark
find
Aviators.
find that photo and then post it. That's
I've
your
been looking
homework.
everywhere. I hope to find it. I was so tempted to dress like that for the show, the live show, in Maple Ridge, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll do a costume change or
Oh,
something.
I double dare you. You have to.
Yeah.
Just you.
I
Oh,
may.
that's the best high school. Like that would have, how did the kids react? Well, you were a
Oh,
kid, but how did the other kids react?
really well. I was so surprised because here I am, this pimply faced, slightly somewhat overweight kid dressed the way I was. And the audience applauded. The kids loved it. The tough kids, we had a group of tough kids, like many high schools do have. And one of them, he referred to me as Houdini. He'd go, "Hey, Houdini," because I had an afro, and these tough kids all had afros and dressed really cool. That was so flattering that he dug me, you
That
know.
is super cool. What
Oh,
a great memory, though. And that
yeah.
probably planted the seed for you to continue, I'm assuming. It was like if they'd all booed you off this, and thought you were a loser, you might
Yeah,
not have,
that would be it,
that might
baby.
have been a different ball game for you, right?
I suspect so. It might have gone that way. My partner Earl, my friend Earl, was doing pure magic. I was doing mind reading. One of the effects I did was I'd put together on a piece of Bristol board miniature playing cards glued or scotch taped to this Bristol board, and someone from the audience came up, and I had them throw a dart at the board so that he hit as close as he could to one of the cards. The one card in 52 was the one I predicted. It was reversed in the pack. And I'm actually going to do something kind of similar to that in that Maple Ridge show,
That's
just to
cool.
pay homage or homage to
Yes,
to that. Um,
that's cool.
but Earl did pure magic. He did like a little floating ball and he did multiplying red billiard balls and stuff like that. But I stuck to what I felt comfortable with. Another one I'm probably going to do is the one that I did in high school. Wow, I don't believe that all these years later I'm doing these things, these particular tricks, because I deviated greatly into kids' magic. It's a slate. In my case, on at that show, it's going to be two slates, completely blank, put together. I'm going to read supposedly the thoughts of a volunteer up from the audience, a time that they thought of, the name of a person of significance whose birth date or time that is, and it's going to be they're going to open up the slates, and it's going to be written on the slates.
Wow.
as if
Oh,
by magic.
that's cool. I can't wait to see that. That is going to be amazing. Oh,
You
so with
you
with
will see
with
it, and
yeah,
I'm
that's like yeah. So they just you just do they put their hands up from the audience, or do you pick them randomly, or how does that work?
it depends.
Just
That's a
curious.
very important point, actually. You only get that by doing many, many shows in your lifetime. I'll pick up a vibe.
Yeah.
You know, with kids, they all want to volunteer, so all the hands come up, right? With adults, they're a little bit more reserved than others, depending on which part of the country you are in.
Sure.
But a really reserved audience, I'll pick up ones that are smiling, or I feel like maybe they do want to come up, but they're kind of shy. So I'll go, you, why don't you come up? And then I'll have to beg them to come up. No, I'll ask them to come up.
Yeah, he's
But
like,
with
oh,
yeah,
that is super cool. No, I mean, so when you've got the music versus magic, like I know like that's part of the, there's no time for magic. What is that all about?
okay.
Ah,
It sounds like a play in a
it
TV show,
does.
No
It's
Time
like
for Sergeants, but
let's focus. Like, yeah, I want to see that one.
Ah, I fell in love with the music of Cat Stevens when I was also in grade 10. Maybe, yeah, it was grade 10. And just started teaching myself guitar from books. My dad was a very successful musician in Montreal. So he brought me to this magic shop in downtown Montreal. Did I say magic? I meant music
Okay,
shop.
well, it could have been magic slash music. Just kidding.
What is it? Magic is music, music is magic. And
Magic.
so I bought books and I taught myself guitar so I could play and sing Cat Stevens stuff. But
Wow.
it took up so much of my time. Plus, I wanted to keep up my grades. I was in the top, I guess you'd say top 10 or top five in some cases in my high school. And so it required a great deal of devotion and concentration. So something had to go, and magic I kind of put up literally and figuratively on the shelf,
Mhm.
knowing that it wasn't the end. Sounds familiar, that it wasn't the end.
You're
And
just putting it on the back burner. It was there to
yeah,
hang out with you.
yeah. So I played music a lot. I started getting bookings in Montreal somewhere between age 18 to 21. I had a close friend, I still do, booked me a lot of Parks and Rec gigs, and I did university gigs where I'm playing music. Not just Cat Stevens stuff, but Super
Yeah.
Tramp and all that. And I've always tried to incorporate music into my magic shows, whether they're kids or adult shows, um, be it doing tricks to recorded music or singing songs from the TV show, in my live concerts as well. So
That's
music
cool.
has always been a part of my life, especially because my dad was a musician. He played
Wow.
drums.
That's very cool. Now, do you have video of that? Any of those that people can find
I have
online?
pictures. I have tons of pictures from Man in His World and Expo where my dad played. He played many, many gigs all over Montreal and in and around surrounding areas. So people say we look alike. You'll have to judge for yourself when I
Yeah,
post these
yeah.
things.
No, because you should, I don't know if you have if you posted them in the past, like, I mean, but you should post them again based on
Yes,
our talk, because people
absolutely.
like to go back in time and see people's history, and where you come from, what you've been doing, and not so much how you got here, but that's always cool too. Like, just to kind of see what you've been up to. Because having said that, so if you put the magic on the shelf for a bit, um, you're going to college. So you went to college obviously as well, even though you learned music. So what did you go to? You must have gone to college. So what did you do? Where'd you
Uh,
go?
I went to Dawson College in Montreal, and but Dawson College gave me graphic design slash commercial arts. That's what I took. In grade 10 and 11, we were encouraged. My art teacher encouraged us, those of us who were moving on to college and or university, to make up a portfolio because we'd have to show a portfolio of our work to get in if we got in at all. And let me give you an example, Suzette. Of 200 applicants, because it's Montreal, wanting to get into the graphic or commercial art program, only 50 would be accepted. I was one of them. And
Wow.
so we'd have a class of 50 kids. And by the end of the 3 years, there was like 10 or 15 kids left. That's how tough it was. It's Montreal. The educational system is very high, probably the highest in Canada. And so I took graphic design so I could be a commercial artist
Mhm.
and make a living from my art.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the truth of the matter is, I took graphic design to give myself a title because I wanted to be a cartoonist. I loved drawing
Oh,
cartoons,
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
did it. I did it. I ended up drawing a syndicated comic strip for a year or two.
Oh, that's cool. Like with a newspaper or with some
Yeah,
like, is
yeah.
that right?
Uh,
Hey,
I
that's really cool.
It was quite the journey because I made up examples. You have to make up what are called dailies in black and white and Sunday funnies, which are printed either on a Saturday or a Sunday, depending on whether it's Canada or the US. You gotta give several examples of your potential strip, and I photocopy them. What's this? A mimeograph? I don't know. I'd photocopy them and
The
send them
old
off,
Monday. Wow.
hundreds, hundreds of them. And ironically, the one syndicate that accepted me was right there in Montreal, my own home city. I think it was on Saint Jacques or Saint James Street in Montreal, near Old Montreal. And it was called Sprocket Productions. I had an interview and all that. And I was one of three in the end, drawing Winnie Witch and the Giant Potato.
I
Those
was
of
about
you
to
were
ask you what it was, what your comic was called.
well, we're both of us living in Vancouver, Canada. It was seen in Vancouver, the Vancouver Sun, back in the early 70s, no, late 70s, around
Yeah.
78, 79. Winnie Witch and the Giant Potato. I can't claim authorship for it, and that's okay. But I was one of three artists. We alternately drew our strips for it, and it was a lizard witch who lived with a big
Funny.
potato.
Yeah, I forgot
And
about the comics. Remember you in the Vancouver, well, I was in Alberta and Vancouver back in the olden days, back growing up, but
ah,
you got the newspapers and then you got the comic, like all the little, the comic, or you know what I mean? Like in
yeah, the inserts.
the insert, yeah, and then you could, every page, I don't know, I can't remember all the comics in there, but I forgot about that. So
Yeah, oh
that's,
yeah. That was very special because growing up in Montreal, my dad had lived in New York for about 20 years before I was born. Excuse me. And everyone on his side lived in New York. So he'd go every day for a walk in Montreal when I was growing up, with his fedora and with his cigar and pick up the daily news. It's kind of the paper, the tabloid to read every day, several times a day. They'd be published in New York. But again, it's Montreal, so we'd have newspapers from all over the world. He'd just walk to the corner, bring home a daily news. And on the Sunday, in Canada, it would be Saturday. The Saturday paper had the funnies,
yeah,
but
that's right.
the American ones had them on the Sunday. And there was Dick Tracy, there was Dondi, there was Blondie, there was
Yeah,
Peanuts
that's right. I
eventually.
remember those. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Blondie,
It-
that's right.
so I loved that. I grew up with that, and I ended up drawing my own strips as well in Montreal in French and English. They were editorial cartoons mostly, or op-ed, opposite the editorial page, op-ed, commentary type of one-panel cartoons in Montreal, Toronto, and Winnipeg when I finally moved to Winnipeg.
Right.
That was very popular, drawing caricatures I developed by working at Ontario Place in Toronto, a couple of summers. It was hard to get in to be a caricature artist. Again, I was one who did, and I pop off hundreds of dollars worth of caricatures in a day at
That's
Ontario
cool.
Place. So that prepared me for Winnipeg. It was kind of like Montreal prepared me for Toronto, Toronto prepared me
Well,
for
I know that
Winnipeg.
you yeah, I was going to say, because you went through Toronto for a bit doing the advertising and stuff like that as well. So that kind
Yes,
of was a stepping stone to Winnipeg, like that you
exactly.
went through Toronto. And then what took you to Winnipeg? Oh, yes, because you went through Toronto and then, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and then you went to Winnipeg.
I believe it was a plane that took me to
You
Winnipeg
didn't,
from
what?
Toronto.
You didn't get on the old carriage and your horse and carriage?
No, no. Although that would have been really, really cool. That would have been so
You
cool.
know, and
But
went through the prairies all the way to Winterpeg.
no,
Hey,
that
I'm
that
from
was
Alberta. I'm allowed to say Winterpeg, you know.
that's right.
I lived in
That's
Winnipeg
right.
once way back in the olden days too, so I know only for
And
a
you
minute.
survived. You
I
know,
was a little
it's
girl. I had no choice, just so you know.
like little girl or
Like, you know, very young, very young.
oh,
And I had
okay.
no choice. My parents moved there, so you
Uh
had the choice. No, I'm just kidding. Winnipeg's awesome.
it is awesome. The people are so open and creative. I
They're very
compare it
friendly.
to Montreal in a way. I mean, Montreal is a huge metropolis, but Winnipeg, the people are open. They're
They're
very open and
super
creative,
friendly.
and many scientific firsts and artistic firsts come from Winnipeg as well. Many magicians come from Winnipeg, such as Doug Henning. He gained world
Oh.
fame. Toronto claimed him, but he was born and raised in Winnipeg. And I love Winnipeg. I'm very grateful for all how they took to
It's a
me.
beautiful city. And it's like again, the prairies have the friendliest people, you know?
Yes, so they say, and I tend to agree. From there, I met my future puppeteer guy. My very
Oh,
first show, my TV show was called Kitty Cabaret, and we were a bunch of clowns. I was surrounded by clowns, literally, and I was like the ringmaster or taskmaster or whatever you want to call it. And I was the host. I would do a few tricks, then interview the next segment, which was puppet theater. And we used chroma key back then. It was blue screen. Nowadays it's green screen.
yeah. Oh,
And
right. Oh,
he
interesting. I didn't know
there
that.
there he is crouched behind like a blue screen with a blue screen behind him. A couple of characters. When that show ended, and I ended it because I just got tired of being the ringmaster. I wanted to do more mystical stuff, like in Fantasia, like little Mickey Mouse in Fantasia. So I created Magic Mike's Castle, and Daryl is his name, Daryl Scarrett, came along to that show and did Desmond and Forgetful, a dragon and a lion. He introduced several other puppets to that show. One in a wheelchair. There was a wise owl as well. All these different ones that hopefully kids could relate to. And I tied in, I had to, because that's the way I am. I had a magic shop for about 6 years, so I would run contests on the TV show, so people would come to the magic shop and enter the contest to win whatever.
Mm.
And yeah, that was a great deal of fun.
That is super. Now, is that what got you back in or got you back into the magic? Because you'd put it on
Ah,
the
good
shelf for a
question.
bit. Yeah.
Good question. I got back into magic in TO in Toronto. So
Mm.
I had suspended that. I was doing a lot of music and graphic design. I moved to TO. And one day, when I was visiting my parents back in Montreal, I flew in uh, because I could. I can endure, my arms can fly
Oh,
great distances.
exactly.
And so I opened up my old closet, my bedroom closet,
Oh,
and there was this little case just sitting there, taunting me, beckoning me. And so I took the case, I opened it up, and it's like, all this
that
light
is
in a way
super
came out. It was my
cool.
old tricks. I was up to my old tricks again, Suzette. And
That
yeah,
got you going. That
I,
is funny. That old trick just tricked you.
I fell in love with magic once again, and Toronto is
Wow.
a great place for magic. It still is. On my
Yeah.
way to Ontario Place to my caricature gig every day, I'd stop into the Browser's Den of Magic, which still exists. They changed locations in Toronto many times, but they're still around. The owners are gone now, but it's being carried on well. And I'd buy tricks lots of tricks because I didn't know at the time if Winnipeg had a magic shop, and I knew by then I was going to move to Winnipeg with my future ex-wife. And so um, I pile up tons of tricks and learn them and keep them behind the couch so no one got mad that I had bought a lot of magic. And
That's funny.
y- yeah, they ended up giving me a couple of shows before I moved from
Wow.
Toronto, and so that's how I regained my excitement in magic. And apparently, Suzette, that's not unusual. It's a pattern. Oftentimes, kids will get into magic as I did around 6 or 8, sometimes 12 or 14. Then they give it up for a few years. And then the bug gets them, the magic bug around 22, which it did again, 22, 23. And it either goes for a few years, you either become a pro or a hobbyist. I won't
Right.
say amateur, I'll say hobbyist.
Well, no, fair enough. I
Or
think that's respectable. Yeah, because I think it's something that yeah you're still complete you're interested, but other things
yes,
for
absolutely.
whatever reason. But that is brilliant. So how much like in Winnipeg you were was it were you full time there or how did it spark?
Well, funny you should ask. Read the book, kids.
Yeah,
Available on
well,
Amazon.
pass it over,
Uh,
pass it through the computer,
I
you know.
wish I could. That'll be a good trick to do down the
Oh,
road.
that would be super cool.
When I moved to Winnipeg, I moved there and knowing that I had a couple of jobs set up for me in full-time and part-time in graphic design for a little newspaper, and then eventually West Fair Foods, which is or was Superstore. I don't know if they still are, and Loblaws and all that. So I'd be drawing all the little products for them. But at the same time, in my spare time at night, I decided to drive around. This is how I drive. I drove around to Winnipeg trying to get a couple of gigs, and I hit the first night within the first month of living in Winnipeg, a couple of great little after hours places called September's. One was September's, and another one was called Gabby's. It was a big restaurant in
Nice.
Winnipeg, and table to table magic. Other
No
magicians
way.
heard of
Oh,
me
that would
and
be cool.
it is, and it was. It was great fun. And within that year or two as well, I was not interviewed, I auditioned for Lord Gort's feast. I love a good medieval feast. And I got into that one for 10 years as the magician and doing stuff. I have 2 spots in the show.
That
Great
is,
fun. So I worked a lot. I worked for my first couple of years full time in graphic design and part-time at night and weekends in magic until I lost the full-time job, which obviously was meant to be, I think. I was replaced by a laser scanner that could shoot out illustrations faster than I could draw them. And I was earning part-time in magic what I was earning full-time in advertising in Winnipeg. So that
wow,
all worked out. And
that's amazing. What a memory for Winnipeg too. Like, even though you moved onwards to the West Coast, um, had you ever thought about like I mean, because you were in different cities, but had you ever thought about going like say outside of Winnipeg to the small towns or anything like
oh,
that? Like,
absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. And I don't know if that's in your notes or not, but it's funny you say that. That's a great
yeah, no.
segue. Um, for a few summers in a row, I did about 15 towns or
No,
fairs.
no, yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just up
yeah,
here,
yeah.
not
That
on the
was great
notes.
fun. It would
Yeah.
actually take longer to drive to these gigs, 4 to 6 hours, than the
Wow.
actual show. The show would be
Oh,
like half an hour,
yeah.
40 minutes. So yeah, but it was great
Wow.
fun, and the
Well, they don't
people I
have
met
like
were
towns
awesome.
as close as like Abbotsford or Maple Ridge or, what I'm saying, like
Yeah,
around the Lower Mainland. I mean,
yeah. It
oh,
it's
that's too
not
bad.
it's not something I like to talk about much, the magic scene in BC or Vancouver, but let's just say it's not uh for some reason, like compare the two cities. If you really do, they both have the same population, but Vancouver will really be upset if you tell them that. but it's true. And but there's just not the kind of gigs that there were in Winnipeg or Manitoba. For example, I left Winnipeg in 94 earning about $350 for a half hour show. They still offer $100 in Vancouver, in
Yeah.
and around Vancouver, maybe
Like,
150. You can't compare. So I chose partly not to do shows out here because first of all, I burnt myself out in Winnipeg. I was tired, and any shows that I did do and do and perhaps will do out here, they're free. Because
yeah,
I'd
fair
rather
enough.
do a
You
free show, maybe
can
that will
enjoy.
benefit people, than do a $50 show where I'm coming from a place where I was getting $400 for a show.
Well, that's right. And
So
the traveling and the time and stuff, and whereas you can just be
yeah,
doing what you're
yeah,
doing and
yeah.
enjoy it and know the audience is just having the best time and yeah, and
Yeah.
you're
And
I agree.
that's what it's all about. It's like doing service. I look at it that way now. It's giving back. And had to look at it that way, but I do look at it that way in the last 20 years or so that I just want to give back. And for
No, I
example,
agree. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a huge, like you said, you've kind of gone through your whole like the life of all your, you know, what you were focusing on and where you went and like you said and where you've come to now and what you're like you're giving back. So but I mean with the gigs and the agents and your magic shop and the television show especially, I mean I know that you've worked with a lot of people and who you're grateful for working with.
Absolutely. I'm still in touch with most of the techies from the TV show, believe it or not. One of them, and I will mention her name, is Susie Maloney, the famous horror writer. And she started off on my TV show. Um, doing naughty things behind the camera while I'm trying to do a kids show and she's one of my camera people. I
That's
won't
cool.
describe stuff that she did and I'd crack up on camera, but we'd have like great fun. And I've had her on my interview show
Yeah.
here and we just have great fun, kind of like you and I do.
Yeah.
We're all a little bit
That's
crazy.
amazing. Oh, that's fantastic. No, and it's amazing how they, again, like you kept in touch with people over the years and just how they've been part of, again, your career from the beginning to the end and just how well it's gone. And again, um, like where you're continue to be and where you still are, and then just how every week or how often are you doing your magic shows now?
Funny you should ask. Um,
Which is
I've
not on my
latched.
sheet, by the way. It's just I'm
I know. I think that's so cool. That's the way it should be, I think. Around COVID time, just before COVID hit, and it hit hard. Oh, I'm hurting still. Um, I was booked to do a live show somewhere. It might have been Langley or Abbotsford. It was a cute little theater, kid show, family show. COVID strikes. I even did the poster for them. COVID strikes,
Oh,
no shows, no show radio. That's something else.
I like that.
So fortunately, a couple of people in New York City,
New York.
and the UK came up with a concept of like an open mic virtual theater kind of show. That was about 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It's still going strong. And I
Wow.
want to publicly thank Kevin Peele, Robina the Enchantress, Tommy Burnett for being the nucleus of those original shows. They're still involved with them. And I guess every week. It's going to every 2 weeks, starting in a couple of weeks, but it's been on the air so long. So I'm the opener. I get to do a trick or two. I get my 5 minutes down virtually, and I love it because it reminds me of my TV show. And I'm a big ham. I'm a big kosher ham,
Well,
and so
that's cool.
I love doing what I do and entertaining people. So I'll always, as long as the thing lasts, I'll always do that. I've produced many shows for a couple of years similar to that one with pretty much the same staff and crew. I think it was called Dr. Michael's Friday Night Wizard Emporium. That was great fun. And all of these were free. My chat show, which you've been on at least once, hopefully you'll be on again many times when I
Oh, I
start it
look
up.
forward to. Yeah, I really look
Magical
forward to that. It
people.
was an honor. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, same. And so I get my jollies that way. But there's also, I decided with the book, available by the way on Amazon, to do that live show, as I mentioned in Maple Ridge, kind of structured with my old very first tricks, the tricks from Winnipeg, kid show tricks, and ending with mentalism, my love again. So it's an interesting question. I love writing. I've got 88 books of nonfiction on Amazon as well. Self-help stuff mostly, and some magic books
Just a
geared
question.
to
You keep saying Amazon. Is it .ca? Can they get it on com as well?
all of it. You name it. So
Okay, anywhere on Amazon, because I know how we have our Amazon.ca, but if there's anyone watching from the States or Europe or wherever, where, because again, sometimes they are only available under
they're all over the
.ca.
world.
Oh,
So yeah,
excellent.
they're available on an Amazon near you.
Yeah, I love that. See, that's what you got to say, Amazon near you, because there are certain types of, when you do go to look, search for something, I've only been able to find something, say on Amazon.com through the US. So,
Yes.
so that's great. Amazon near you. Perfect. I love that. No, that's
So there
brilliant.
you
No,
go.
that's
Yeah,
that's
lots of fun.
fantastic. So now, okay, so with everything having, and that like next week's show coming on, and you're still doing them weekly, I believe. What are your thoughts of you? Have you ever thought of that R word, retirement?
You mean
Or
reality?
I don't know
Reality?
what that,
No.
yeah,
Um,
just, or, I mean, you're just pleasantly going through the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the yearly, just kind of wondering of your thoughts on, early retirement, because, you're so young at
you
heart,
said it. Oh my goodness. You said
but
it. You
where's
said
your
the
thoughts
R.
on,
You know
that
what?
word?
I'm always, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I'm always thinking of retiring. I'm always
That's not
thinking of like,
negative. That's a positive. There's early retirement. People win the lottery and retire at
eh,
50.
but what would I do, Suzette? If I retired, I'd be doing the exact same stuff and probably more. I'd write more books, I'd produce more shows, I'd appear live. It's very, very tempting to just take a break and do nothing. And I tried that so many times, and it just doesn't work for me because I get antsy and
Perfect.
or I'll produce record album, whatever, digital album of music and stuff. So
The
no,
records
that,
are coming back, by the way. Everybody has records. So actually, real
yeah,
records, because record players are coming back in. No, this is perfect. And I say, don't retire. Stay doing what you're doing.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
oh, this is
And
that's fantastic news that you're not planning on that in the near future or anytime that in the future.
And I consult as well. And I do give talks. You and I spoke. I don't know if we were on the air when we spoke about TED
No, no,
Talks.
not yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be doing that. I do a thing called Live at several campuses. One in particular is in Surrey, out here, Surrey, BC. Once a year, every couple of years, they'll pick a topic for me and I'll see if it fits, or I'll come up with a topic and give a talk. I love doing that because kind of the heat's off of me and I could throw in magic to illustrate part of my
That's
talk a little
awesome.
bit as well. So I really, really enjoy that. It's called Live. If any of you are watching this locally in Vancouver area, you should attend them because they cater to all sorts of interests, hobbies, self-help, spirituality, all kinds of stuff. So
I
and
think
I'm
that's
excited and
wonderful.
honored to be a little bit a part of that as well when I decide every time to do it. I've
Well,
been,
that's right. And when even if you do retire, again, you can always put out the what you do and just do it
yes,
on the side of retirement. But no, I say keep following your dreams, keep following your heart, keep following what makes, that just fills your spiritual, your happiness and your focus on what you're doing. I mean, and again, it's what you give back to people and how you have always, put out such a positive influence on people and what magic brings into people's lives. And that's what's super important. And honestly, like just me knowing you has been super, a massive, for the years I've known you, you've always brought a positive instinct to me. So it's been an honor knowing you. So again, doing what you do, keep doing it. And what you'll give back to people is amazing.
Thank you so much. That's an honor that you said that. It's very mutual. And magic can heal. Performing arts do heal. Several years ago, I think it's called Ronald McDonald's House. They're in
Yes.
Vancouver somewhere. And a friend of mine, a police officer friend of mine, got me that gig because they know him. He's a funny guy. And this has happened to me more than one time because I used to do a lot of kids' hospitals. Hopefully, I'll
Yeah.
do more out here. But the kids, they seem to come alive. Kids that have been in bed or haven't spoken.
Yeah. It's amazing. And like I said, keep putting it out there. So even if, you do the R word, you know,
Yes.
you're still gonna, keep on keeping on. And honestly, it's the most inspiring thing that you do. And we did talk about, and we can say the word, the TED Talks, and you go out there and you're an inspiration to people being Magic Mike and keep being Magic Mike no matter what you do.
Well, I can't do anything else. I can't
Well,
be anyone
that's the
else than
important
Magic
thing.
Mike.
Yes, and
But this time
you are a
it's
Magic Mike.
Oh, that's right. I wrote a book called I Am Magic Mike years ago
I
because
love
someone
that.
said the same thing to me. She said, "You are Magic Mike." And it's like, oh, darn, I think I am. Let
Yeah,
me
no,
check the
you are.
label. Yeah, it
That's
says
right.
Magic.
Yeah. You need to, you are. And I mean, again, you've got a huge incentive. And I believe that, and you're going to keep on being Magic Mike. So no matter what you decide, and again, retirement's just an R word. I don't think it really takes effect on, you know, signing off. You just keep on keeping on. And I believe that you do that, you're
Yes.
gonna change so many people's lives like you have in the past, and you'll continue doing it. So,
Oh, thank you. Thank
yeah.
you. I agree. I agree. I have to, I know we're wrapping up, we're closing or should, but one another happy incident that happened was I think it was Montreal. I went back out east from Winnipeg when I was still living in Winnipeg doing the TV show. And I was just tired and I kind of had a bad attitude. And so I'm waiting at the carousels, that you have at the airports. I hate flying, by the way, but I will if I have to. So I'm at the carousel, and there's a mom with her little boy, and she keeps staring at me, which was par for the course in Winnipeg. That meant they recognize me or they want an autograph, and I'm very
That's what I
thankful
was
for
thinking.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was not in a good mood, but you kind of gotta get yourself up for your audience. She came up to me with a little boy. I think she was holding him like in her arms or something. He was propped up and he was shy. But she said, "Oh, he watches your show every week. And, he made himself a Magic Mike costume." And it's like, whoa,
Wow.
which was like a medieval outfit that with a hood and all that.
Wow.
And so that changed everything again for me. And I'm very
Wow.
grateful for that. So when Sue is my wife, I love that Halloween store. They have a chain of them. We go to them and they actually have like medieval costumes and stuff. And I go, look, it's a Magic Mike outfit.
I was about to say that's amazing. Almost you need like a name brand where you can put the Magic Mike name brand on some of these medieval costumes.
It's funny you said that name brand because two things relating to that. We can't wrap up, can we?
Like, I hope everyone's enjoying us as much as we're enjoying ourselves.
I know. So, Magic Mike Magic Kit. I was asked when I was still living in Winnipeg by the people from KTEL, which was based in Winnipeg, by the way. Had a meeting with them. They wanted to put together a Magic Mike kit. And they had me consult what tricks and whatnot and where to source them out. They had their own where they would source them out. And then K-Tel went belly up and there was no Magic
Oh,
Mike
I
kit.
remember
So I
Kate.
made up my own when I had my magic shop and, and saved
Oh,
people some money.
yeah.
And I thought there was one other story pertaining to that, but that's
Oh,
it. That's all.
well, the capes and stuff being in your name.
Oh, yes, very good. So my one of my agents had been bugging me for the longest time to copyright my name.
Well,
And the
that's what
truth
I
of the
was
matter,
thinking.
Suzette, is at that time in the late 80s and most of the 90s, everyone and his dog in the US called themselves Magic Mike. If they were Mike or Michael, they were Magic Mike.
Oh,
So I chose not to because it's like, I could
how do you
maybe.
go after everybody and say that's my name?
But he said to me, "You're going to be sorry." He was a
Um,
little bit older and wise. And I go to one of my favorite malls, and what do I see? I should preface this by saying I made myself up. I went to fluorescent lighting, I think it's called, where it's tubes, colored tubes made into signs. There's a proper term for that. So I had made up a Magic Mike sign in red and
oh,
script
wow.
lettering
Yeah.
from a fluorescent lighting place. And then I go to this mall and I look up that same morning, maybe it was early afternoon, that same morning, and there's an amusement center, where you have pinball machine, Magic Mike's. And it's
No.
like, oh dear. And in Yiddish, we have a term, it was finster in front of my eyes. It's like everything went dark. So I'm not shy. I don't know if you
Oh,
knew that, Suzette, or you folks
yeah.
out there. I'm not shy. I went right to administration, and they knew me because they had booked me previously for shows. And I
Right.
said, "What's the deal? What's going on?" I said it in a different
Probably
way, but
nicely.
I,
Yeah.
I said it, and they said, "There's nothing we can do about it." And
Oh, that's sad.
so I got the idea of working with them. So I went back to it, and it was a guy I knew from the Magic Club, one of the Magic Clubs in Winnipeg. He was a fan, so he did that kind of as a compliment. And it's like, oh wow. So from then on, I'd book with him shows to publicize his little amusement center and the mall, and it
But it
worked
looked
out.
like it was your place as well then, like as if
Yeah.
you owned it.
It was a high-end place too. It was nice. It wasn't a tacky kind of place. It was beautiful. So yeah, that worked out again.
Wow, though. I mean, it almost like it was your benefit because it almost looked like you owned it.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's
Ex
crazy though, if you had copyrighted your name.
I know. I know.
Um,
I'm glad I didn't because I'm Magic Mike with Jick. No one has taken that yet. I don't
okay,
think anyone wants to like real magic, Magick,
okay.
Magic Mike.
Yeah.
And a line I use right at the beginning of my shows, yes, I'm mentioning this. I go, and I'm Magic Mike, the magician, not the dancer,
Oh, see, there you go. That yeah, you throw in the magician part.
in
And now
case
you've got
there's confusion.
the doctor magic mic to boot, right?
That's
So
right. That's the other thing too. I earned three
yeah.
PhDs over 20 years, and it's
Yeah.
like
So
I'm Dr.
you're the
Michael.
doctor magic mic. See, and that can always inspire everybody that you are the doctor magic
Hopefully.
mic to change
Hopefully.
everyone's lives. See, magically and otherwise.
Thank you.
See,
Thank you
I
so
think that's an
much.
inspiration right there. But that is kind of an interesting story that people kind of abused your, Magic Mike name. Although hopefully back then it kind of, raised the bar a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully. I
I
have
hope.
one more quick story about that. It was way before I had agents. I was I think in Toronto. No, I had gone back to Toronto from Winnipeg. And I was by then I was on TV with my medieval type of
Oh
outfit.
yeah, yeah.
I go to the browser's den. I wasn't wearing it, but on my show I was. And lo and behold, there's a Magic Mike in Toronto in a medieval outfit, a framed picture.
No, he
I
copied
know.
you. Oh, well, you were obviously an inspiration that people were copying you
Or something.
or
I don't know, but
something.
yeah, I think what's that
That's
expression? The greatest form of flattery is copying, or
Yeah, like
copy.
trying to follow, be a copy, follow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow,
So
that would have been funny if you'd showed up with your outfit and said, "Oh,
I
hey,
know. And
glad
so
that you
that
want
was
to be
cool. It was
me."
a cool publicity photo we had, but it freaked me out because it's like, but he was there for years. He was there in Toronto. He was born, I think, in actually he was born in Montreal, but living in
Okay,
Toronto.
nice.
And he did a safari, magic safari summer every year. For many years, he was known for that. Really nice guy.
Wow, that's wild. So did you go up to him and say, "Hey, I'm glad you love my everything so much," and show him photos of you? Just
I
kidding.
didn't want to cause trouble.
No, of course. No, but
So
you know what? Again, isn't that wild though? But again, I guess if you look back and you think what an inspiration you've been for people to want to follow in your footsteps.
thank you, Suzette. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, no, and it is true. They're always going to want to follow in your footsteps. So, and again, just always being an inspiration to people in that, again, whether depending on anything you've done in your life, but in the magic part of it itself, So this is like a super interesting like your life story from being a child into the high school onto, into the university, and then even just the fact that you got your, university degree and stuff, and then went followed back into your magic is brilliant. And it's like following your dreams and still becoming the person you've become, and inspiring people to follow their dreams. That's what's important here. And it's
That's what it's all
super,
about. Honestly,
yeah.
you're absolutely right. I've learned, um, if you do have a dream or several dreams in my case, because I'm nuts. But if you
No,
love
no, you're
something,
not nuts. People have several dreams, and sometimes
yes,
they veer off and then they come back on. And again, it's letting people know to follow their dreams. And if they
yes,
veer off for a minute to
absolutely.
check out another dream, that's okay. Then you get back on and you continue to follow, and and have fun doing it. No matter what, don't ever criticize yourself. Have fun doing it. And I think
Absolutely.
hopefully all your dreams, they've become, they've always got, well, even if they've been hiccupy stories, I always say, if you've got a hiccup, you have some peanut butter and then you continue on.
I love it. I love it. That's so cool. That's so cool. It was
So
such a
no,
pleasure chatting with you.
I know, and I'm so grateful and honored to be part
Same.
of this talk. Thank you. Like I look forward to us doing something again.
You
This has
betcha.
been like the
You
best.
betcha. Think we're on to something. It's not the end. Maybe
No,
just
it
the
never is.
beginning.
We're going to
No.
continue on because that's right. You're not retiring. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
No, but this is
Thank
an honor.
you.
So I look forward to what's next. I'm a follower on all our social media. So I'm looking forward. And then of course we just keep on keeping on. So,
You
oh
betcha.
wait,
Yeah,
and I have to
catch.
thank everybody for watching us. Thank you all for watching us.
Thank you, Suzette, so much for doing this. I'm greatly in debt to you.
Yeah, you're
Thanks
so
once
welcome.
again. We'll
You're
see you
so
soon.
welcome. Yeah, you bet. We'll see you soon.